South Alabama knocks out Eastern Michigan twice. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's Locked On Sunbelt with your host, Dave Schultz, on a very special Christmas edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. With all of the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. All right, normally I guess we wouldn't be doing a Christmas special. Everyone, hopefully you're having a great holiday, but we had more than just bowl wins and losses yesterday. Also wanted to get one out to preview Texas State before that ball game comes up as well. Well, Georgia State and Coastal Carolina both won, and again, we will preview Texas State as well. But wow, South Alabama. We'll get to all the games that happened on Saturday, but did really not see what came with South Alabama. Talk about one of the more consistently inconsistent teams this year. South Alabama, for the third time this year, puts up 50 points or more without their starting quarterback, without their starting running back, out to injuries, and Colin Lacey, their wide receiver, has transferred to Louisville. So no Carter Bradley, no LaDainian Webb, no Colin Lacey, and no problem. South Alabama dominates Eastern Michigan 59-10. It was 17-0 after one. It was 38-3 at half, and it could have been worse. Diego Guajardo missing a couple of field goals in this ball game, and South Alabama could have had a couple more touchdowns, but completely dominated. And the quarterbacks, which we expected, Desmond Trotter in his sixth season gets the start. Pretty good, 9 of 17, 115 yards with a touchdown and an interception. He also ran a touchdown in. But it was the freshman showing up and showing out, Gio Lopez. It's going to be his job next year. 14 of 19, 192 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns, one more on the ground, running for 7 carries on 88 yards. All right, so it was unreal that this line, I didn't quite understand this line. Should also be mentioned, Eastern Michigan was without a lot of their offensive stars as well. But I didn't understand this line because it started at 15.5 and South Alabama didn't have anybody. And it kept on growing. By the time it kicked off, it went from like 15.5 to 17.5, which I did not take. And I think I predicted South Alabama to win and not cover. Oops. I did not do very well in my picks at all. And so South Alabama is dominating this ball game. And there was one little run-in, which we'll talk about right now. In the second quarter after a punt, it was 31-3, and Eastern Michigan punted it away. And Corey Hernandez, for some reason, locked up face masks with Brian Dillard. Grabbed Brian Dillard's face mask, like inside the numbers, and then proceeded to drag him all the way out of bounds. And Brian Dillard then tried to flip him to get him off of him, and somehow Hernandez hung on to his face mask through getting flipped and taken down to the ground. This is in the second quarter. After the ball game, and it's 59-10, I don't think there were any other dust-ups, and you can imagine Eastern Michigan not really being too pleased in getting embarrassed on national TV. Corey Hernandez comes out of nowhere and hammers Jermainian Burt, who happens to be Brian's brother. Happens to be Brian Dillard's brother. And for some reason, I think they got the wrong guys. I think he hit the wrong guy. Hernandez hit number 16 instead of number 26, although Burt was flagged on the play for a blindside block on the punt. But nonetheless, they're singing the school song. They're singing the alma mater with the band, and out of nowhere, Hernandez comes and cold cocks Burt in the back of the head. First of all, he's doing it with a bare hand, and he's hitting somebody in the helmet. Not bright to begin with. Dillard almost stopped him. Dillard was like a half a stop from stopping him from doing anything, and then he got clobbered, as you would expect. And it kind of takes some of the shine off of what South Alabama did, was win their first bowl game ever. And you go and look, and what he did, what Corey Hernandez did, is indefensible. There is no but if, or we understand. There's no excuse for what he did. However, he's been playing college football forever. He's got a master's degree. He just finished his 7th year of playing college football. He's going into business, wants to start NIL deals. He wants to fly a plane. You can find the video, about 7 minutes. I'll put it in the comment section. It's almost 8 minutes long. And he just seems like he is a good guy. And he just, for a second, lost it. And as you can imagine, when you go into enemy territory as a suicide bomber, as Craig Stevenson says, what do you think is going to happen? And of course, Dillard, again, almost stopped him from doing it, but then hammers Hernandez, absolutely clobbers him. The rest of South Alabama, whoever could get near him, got to him. They ended up having to clear the field and then bringing South Alabama back for the trophy presentation. And again, what Kane Womack has done with this school in 3 years, phenomenal. From a losing record to winning 10 ball games to going to a bowl game, now back-to-back winning seasons and winning their first bowl game is amazing. And maybe to the detriment of Kane personally and professionally, the season didn't go the way, well, at least the way I thought it was going to go. And he'll be coming back next year, it appears, right? So hashtag always a bright side, I guess. And I think both coaches afterwards, what Kane Womack said, we have to live up to our standard, and the standard that EMU set, they didn't live up to theirs. The coach said so as much. But it was a wild scene at Hancock Whitney Stadium. And I will say, again, very odd, South Alabama playing a home bowl game, or a bowl game at home, and they ended up being the road team. So they're on the visitor side, and the visitor side was, the bottom was full, and the top seemed to be about, 2/3, 3/4 full. So the announced attendance was just under 21,000. I'm not sure if I believe that, but it looked like it was pretty good, at least on the South Alabama side. They did a good job of filling that side up. Congratulations to Ken Womack and company. Corey Batoon had a whale of a ball game. The defensive coordinator, it took him until, 6 minutes left in the game to get 100 yards. Major Applewhite, you just haven't heard these guys at all being considered for head coaching jobs or Power 5 assistants. But, Major's done a really good job the last few years. Again, more than 50 points 3 times this season. And the defense played extremely well for South Alabama as well. So South Alabama, TKOs, EMU-Twice on the scoreboard. And then after the game, and we'll see if there's any fallout, because if you see the video and it's all over the place, you call the cops. I mean, it's flat out, potentially assault. It did not look good at all. And again, there was no excusing what Corey Hernandez did. But congratulations to South Alabama for their first bowl victory. They will try to build on this, and you see the future with Gio Lopez having a fantastic ball game and leading the way with 4 different touchdowns, 3 passing, which may be more important than the 1 running, right? Because everybody knows he can run. The question is, can he lead the team downfield from the pocket or when he's scrambling? And he definitely did so on Saturday. All right, let's take a timeout. When we'll come back, we'll go over the rest of the bowl games. We still got a preview. Texas State. We'll probably save, there is a lurking Sun Belt topic. When is Georgia Southern going to win a basketball game? Because it may not be anytime soon. They may have to wait. And then if they don't win a couple of ball games when they get a chance, are they going to win a couple of ball games? It's a tough start for the Eagles on the hardwood. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back again, we will talk about the bowl games that happened on Saturday. Sun Belt finally got some in the win column. Let me tell you about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. All right, let's go over some of these bowl games from Saturday. They really did not go as planned. I made my picks, and you go back and look, they were not very good picks at all. Thank goodness I didn't actually put any money on them, but it did not go very well. First of all, Troy was dealing with a stomach bug, and they were talking about Gunnar Watson was just barely hanging on, and we've all been there. We know it's going to pass, one way or the other, but it knocks you out and gives you no energy. And to think what you need to do to win a college football game, just feeling 100%, and then when you're not feeling 100%. And it just seeps up all your energy. But Duke ends up beating Troy 17-10 in a ball game that, Troy just didn't look like Troy. Some Troy fans are blaming the former coach John Summerall for talking about the players that he's taken and the coaches that he's taken. Seems to go all that way for a lot of Group of 5 teams. Gunnar Watson, 21-36 with 1 interception, 230 yards. But the guys doing the game, Tom Hart and Cole Kubelik were like, this is not the Gunnar Watson that we've seen, because he's been really, really accurate this season. And I think the interception was thrown when he got hit. But, he's not that guy. And, you give credit to Grayson Loftus. The backup quarterback got some action this year with Riley Leonard banged up 19-29, 183 yards. He threw an interception as well. Kamani Vidal was kind of bottled up in this ball game, and I'm not sure they didn't feature him nearly as much as they should have. There was a play on 4th and 1 that Watson, again, this is a split-second decision. He kept the ball and probably should have handed off to Vidal, because we're going to let him take the blame if he doesn't get it. Vidal, 17 carries, 79 yards, and no touchdowns. Jabri Barber, 10 catches, 107 yards. There's a little bit of yapping in this one. I know Troy, this is the first time a Sunbelt team has played a Power 5 team in a bowl game, and there was a lot of yapping. Barber made a good catch and then gets a 15-yard penalty for telling the defensive back he caught the football. I mean, just play the football game. Jeez. But Troy did not look particularly good, and we'll see how they do moving on with their new coach from Notre Dame, offensive coordinator from Notre Dame, right? Jared Parker. All right. So otherwise, let's see here. Then it didn't go, then we do the next game, or the game going on at the exact same time, Northern Illinois and Arkansas State. And I would say Arkansas State didn't look very good in this one either. Northern Illinois beats Arkansas State 21-19. And, they were saying on the TV that Arkansas State's offense was non-existent in the second half. Jalen Rayner kind of had a Jalen Rayner kind of day passing wise, 16-30, 2 touchdowns, interception for the Sunbelt Freshman of the Year, 13 carries, 49 yards, but no touchdowns. That's the way I wanted the Cajuns to defend him, but they didn't. And Northern Illinois did a good job defending him. Now he did rally. He did rally the team with a late touchdown, making it a 2-score game with just over a minute left. And then on a 2-point conversion, throws it out of bounds, by about 5 yards. Even if the guy's not open, at least give him a chance to catch the football. And then the controversy happened, offsides on an onside kick where, Arkansas State recovered. If you're offsides, call it. I don't have a problem with the whole, we need a dramatic ending. No, the referee called it as soon as it happened. I don't think it happened, but he did call it as soon as it happened. I think it's a bad call. And my problem with a lot of those things is that, we got to hear from Butch Jones on why they lost. We got to hear from Northern Illinois guys on why they won. And we got to hear from the players on why they lost. We don't get to hear from the referees on why they make a bad call. All right. What did you see? Why did you call it? How, what were you possibly seeing? Because as I've heard from an SEC official, it's not that you don't want to make a call, former SEC official, I should say. It's not that you don't want to make a call, but you got to make the call so grandma can see it from the stands. And when you're showing me different angles front, back, and well, it's clear as day. No, not clear as day. I can't tell if he's kicked the ball, right? Are we doing shadows now or offsides? It just didn't look like it was offsides to me. I don't really have an answer to how to fix the problem, but there seems to be a serious officiating problem. We can't get them to do it because, mom and dad are yelling at the umps on a kids level. And then whether it's, FCS, FBS, pro, NBA, Major League Baseball, it just feels like officiating has gone off the rails. And, robots coming to a stadium near you, at least for baseball, and they don't have anybody to blame for it but themselves. So Arkansas State, didn't recover the onside kick the second time because of the offsides, and that was the ball game. Give it up to Butch Jones, kind of coach speak, but it is true. He's like, not one singular play determines the game. They had a bunch of chances to, make plays. Unfortunately, that affects the outcome right at the end. Okay, so Sun Belt. Now, after this, by the way, the South Alabama game was at night. So the record for the Sun Belt is 1-5, and that's kind of when I joked, are they going to win another football game before Georgia Southern wins a basketball game? And the next one was no, because JMU lost to Air Force 31-21. Apparently, a bunch of guys were missing on the JMU defensive side of the ball. Jordan McLeod did what he could. 20 of 33, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 257 yards. Didn't run for very much, was sacked a handful of times. Keelan Black, 11 carries, 43 yards. He is going pro, I believe. And Jordan McLeod, who announced he was transferring, but going to play in the game, he is in the transfer portal. James Madison had a spectacular rushing defense this season. Not in this ball game. Air Force ran for 351 yards. I think that's about 300 more yards per game than James Madison is used to giving up. All right. And you got a lot of James Madison fans that are not too thrilled with their former coach, Curt Cignetti, kind of just catching on to how he acts. I guess it's okay when he's your coach, but when he's not, Curt's always been nice to me. He is a direct and not into the whole playing coach speak with the media. He will answer a direct question, but he will be direct back. So there's not a lot of fluff when it comes to Curt Cignetti. And, the two best teams that the Sun Belt had all season long, JMU and Troy, just did not play very well in their bowl games. And, of course, I picked both those teams to win and to cover. The team that I did not pick to win and to cover was Georgia State. And give it up to Sean Elliott and give it up to Darren Granger. Darren played like the Darren Granger we saw when they started out 6-1. Panthers beat Utah State and Blake Anderson 45-22 in a ball game that was back and forth until it got to be 21-14, and Georgia State took control. They go into half up 31-14, and it was never close after that. Darren Granger, this is what the Darren Granger line looked like for most of the season early on. 19-22, 257 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He had 24 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. So he scored 5 touchdowns, leading Georgia State to the easy 23-point victory. That's a great job by Sean Elliott. Now you wipe out what was, right, a 5-game losing streak. You're not going into the offseason, trying to figure out your last win was in October. Now your last win is towards the end of 2023 and heading into 2024. You can start to feel better about yourself. But again, I didn't think that was going to happen, but a great job by Sean Elliott to get those guys ready. And on the radio, they were talking about how Elliott challenged Darren Granger, who did not play well, honestly, down the stretch. And you got to be better. And he was. What did he amount for? Like 370 yards and 5 touchdowns. I would say that is better. Best of luck to Darren Granger in the future. That is for sure. But they have a nice little foundation in Atlanta. See if they can build on it, because he does have a bunch of bowl appearances and bowl wins. All right. Then later on, another game I sort of got right. I'm taking half credit for this one, although if you bet this one, you would have won money. I thought San Jose State was going to win it, but Coastal Carolina would cover because we've bet against Coastal Carolina, and I've learned my lesson, and I said that. But San Jose State was a big-time favorite in this ball game, 8.5 points, and it was all Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina built a 17-0 lead. They seem to be in good hands with Ethan Vasco, not the starting quarterback, not the backup quarterback, the third-string quarterback. 20 for 33, 199 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Obviously, he got a lot of playing time. Grayson McCall went down. Then Jarrett Guest went down. Both have entered into the transfer portal. You got to appreciate Grayson McCall, though. I'm going to the portal, but I damn well are going on a trip to Hawaii for a week. That is some heady stuff from the former Coastal Carolina quarterback. Also having a big day, Sam Pinckney, 8 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Again, just like the Georgia State ball game, that was a little bit close early on, and Coastal Carolina only led it 7-0 into half. So it was a little bit of a ball game, but it really, San Jose State never threatened. And once Georgia State got in control of their ball game, neither did Utah State. So with South Alabama also winning, Sunbelt ends up, where are we? 4-11 or 4-7. So not great, Bob, but better because they were 1-5. And now they're 4-7. And now Texas State, which we will do next, they will wrap up the bowl schedule in the First Responders Bowl in Frisco against Rice. And we will do that when we come back after this. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. So thrilled with all the support, and you guys are great. We're over, we're over 1,000 subscribers and almost to 1,100. Keep it going. Really appreciate it. Please subscribe on YouTube. See if we can get to 1,100 early January and see if that'll work out. And don't forget about the audio podcasts as well. Wherever you get your audio podcasts, search for Locked On Sunbelt. The 2 most popular or the 2 most obvious. Apple Podcast and Spotify. So do really appreciate all of your support. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. One more game in the Sunbelt, bowl-wise, and that will be on Tuesday. And it is Texas State against Rice in the First Responder Bowl, the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. And the news in this one, couple of things with the news. G.J. Kinney, as we mentioned early on, or late last week, I guess, has signed a new 5-year deal. He's one of the highest, if not the highest paid Sunbelt coach, making $1 million and plenty of incentives and bonuses as well. So Texas State ponied up. They had 6 wins for the first time, right, forever, and they're going to their first bowl game. So all good news there. TJ Finley, who somehow has been playing, college football since 2010, still has not 1, but 2 years of eligibility left. He has not decided whether he's coming back or not. He does have a family to support, so we'll see if he gets an NIL deal, right, in San Marcos, or does he decide to turn pro and go that route? However, he has said, I'm playing in this ball game. The Bobcats fans have been waiting a long time for this game, and I'm going to play in it. So good for TJ Finley, who's had, a phenomenal season, up and down a little bit. But as Covers.com writes, quarterback TJ Finley threw for over 3,200 yards and accounted for 29 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. All right, almost 4-1. Running back Ismail Mahdi ran for over 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns with a kickoff return for a touchdown. So they were very good this year and tough to defend. The Owls, on the other hand, they have a very inconsistent defense, allowing 26.5 points per game. But they played 7 games where they allowed 30 or more points and played 4 games where they held a position to under 17. They allowed 34 points to UTSA, who only scored 20 points on the same Texas State team earlier this year. All right. It says, let's see, Covers.com says the biggest issue for the Bobcats offense is their knack for giving the ball away. They have lost a whopping 14 fumbles this season and thrown 9 interceptions. The Bobcats rank 119th in the country with a -8 turnover margin. The good news is the Owls have only forced 12 turnovers on the year and rank 116th in turnover margin. All right, the thing you can change is the interceptions. Fumbles, you got to learn how to, hang on to the football. How you recover them is that's the bounce of the ball. You never know. Those things can change from one year to the next. All right, the Bobcats have no key opt-outs from this game, and only have one injury concern, wideout Joey Hobart, who's questionable after missing the season finale. Even without Hobart, the Bobcats will be ready for their first ever bowl game and will show out on the defensive end, on the offensive end. So I agree with that. Let's see. Do we have what the line is? About 4.5 Texas State. I'd say it's a home game for Texas State, but it's, just about a home game for Rice, right? Texas State in San Marcos, and Rice is in Houston, and this ball game is in Frisco. So, you should get plenty of folks there. Let me see what time. Do we have a time of the game? Because this is like Tuesday after Christmas. That's a tough day to have a game, right? Because everybody's back to work and kind of just chilling. It's a nice night to have something to watch on TV. Let's see what time this game is at, because otherwise it's kind of tough. Are you going to take Tuesday off, and you got to take Wednesday off to get back to work? Let's see when the game is. The game is Tuesday night. That's a 5:30 start. So it's going to be tough to get back to Houston for work the next day. So maybe work half a day, something along those lines. So we'll see. I am taking Texas State, but I'm warning you, I did not have good picks. Sorry, Texas State Bobcats. I did not do very well. I'm pretty sure I picked Troy, JMU, Arkansas State. Let me see what the Arkansas State one though. Hold on a second. Let me see this one. Arkansas State. No, they were favored. Did not pick Georgia State. Didn't pick South Alabama to win, but I picked them to cover. Picks were not very good at all. But we are taking Texas State in what is hopefully another move forward for the Bobcats. All right. We will recap the Texas State ball game on Tuesday. We'll also talk about this Georgia Southern basketball team, where they better get a win soon, or it may be a bit. They start out the Sun Belt Conference at home and then hit the road, and it may be a minute or two before they get a win. They're starting out the season 0-12. Yeesh. All right. I hope everybody is having a Merry Christmas. Thanks again for all your support in 2023 for Locked On Sunbelt. Hope to continue it here in 2024. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. Thanks very much for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.